Hey there, we have like eons of stories to tell, so if you want to follow us along on this journey and keep up with all the stories that we have putting out, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hope you enjoy. Thank you. Hey, what is up everybody? Chad is here, and today we are going to start Avengers versus X-Men. Okay, I'm doing this story for like two different reasons, right? So the first reason that I'm doing this story is because it's Avengers versus X-Men. Like who wouldn't want to watch Avengers versus X-Men? That's like easy clicks right there. And two is because with the new Black Panther movie coming out, what is it, next month? The beef between Black Panther and Namor, that all started here. Like their entire like them wanting to fight each other all the time, like wanting to actually kill each other, like every time they see each other, that starts in this story, right? So basically, like where we start off at, right, it's the Avengers, and they're like all meeting up. Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Captain Marvel, like they're all just like meeting up, right? And as soon as they meet up, they see like this light flying through the sky, right? And they're just like, you know, looking at it, and it like crashes through a plane, right? So they go and following the light, right? And like Iron Man, he goes try to make sure all this, you know, this debris and stuff, then just like, you know, start just destroying stuff, like all the buildings and stuff like that. And like when they found out where this light went to, it crashed into a building, and they realized it's Nova. And like as soon as they realize it's Nova, Nova just starts telling them like, oh, well, the Phoenix is coming, you know, like he looks all like beat up, like he just got like pretty much pummeled, you know, stuff like that. And you know, he's talking about the Phoenix, right? And basically that's where it's, you know, panic mode, just like that, right? So with that happening, right, we go to the X-Men. So basically Cyclops, he's like trying to like, you know, he's trying to, you know, train Hope Summers, right? You know, like she has her powers, she doesn't know how to necessarily, you know, use them to their full capacity. He's trying to train her, right? And like while he's doing that, you know, he's being real hard on her, right? He's like making her go over the same stuff over and over, not letting her take a break. Nothing. He just wants her to train, right? And Magneto and Emma Frost, they're watching this, right? And Magneto, he notices how hard Cyclops is like pushing her, right? You know, he's like, oh, I mean, this right here looks a little, you know, like he looks like he's going a little overboard. And Emma Frost, she's like, I mean, it's probably not that big a deal. And eventually she loses it, right? Hope Summers, she loses her mind, right? And like Cyclops, he's just like, do it again, try it again, you know, stuff like that. And basically she flares the power of the Phoenix right up in his face, right? Literally knocks him back, right? Like not the entire power of the Phoenix, like she literally like lets some of that power go, right? And it like blows him away, and they are like startled right now, like they are shook, because they know the destructive nature of this thing, right? The threat that this thing like possesses, right? Like the kind of power that this thing possesses, they know this. Like they've had run-ins with this thing before, right? You know, with the Jean Grey stuff going on, they know what this is, right? So with that happening, right, we go back to Captain America and Iron Man, right? You know, them seeing Nova, you know, him talking about the Phoenix coming, it put them in, you know, panic mode, right? So they went to the government, and they're basically like telling them the Phoenix is coming, right? So the best thing about this story is the fact that, you know, they treat it in a way where even if you haven't, you know, seen the Phoenix before, even if you haven't seen it in action, right, all the Jean Grey stuff going on, the Phoenix side, like even if you haven't seen all that stuff, you will get a sense of what's going on here, right? Like you will get a sense of, you know, like how, you know, dire this situation is, right? And they're basically saying this thing is like destruction, you know, personified, right? It's destruction personified, right? Like the destructive nature of this thing is so ridiculously intense, right? Like y'all have never seen nothing like this. Like the kind of power that this thing possesses is insane, right? And basically Iron Man, he's telling them they sent some Avengers to go and like stop this thing. It's not gonna work. that isn't gonna do much, you know. This is probably just gonna slow him down a little bit. But but you know, they sent people out there, right? Thor, Captain Marvel, you know, all those different people. He sent those, you know, heavy hitters out there, right? So with that happening, Iron Man, he gets like this alert, right? And we find out the Phoenix's power signature actually showed up, you know, somewhere on Earth, right? And, you know, they're just like looking, they're like, okay, yeah, we gotta go and find that, right? So Captain America, his first idea is to go to Wolverine, right? Because like Wolverine in this story, he's been a part of the X-Men, and he's an Avenger at the moment, right? So he's basically, you know, like when he's like fighting everybody, he doesn't have any loyalties to no allegiances, you know, he's just doing what he thinks is right, pretty much. And when Captain America goes to talk to him, right, he's basically like telling Captain America like, yeah, I've dealt with this thing before, you know, like we've had to fight this, I know what it's capable of, you know, stuff like that. And Captain America's asking, you know, if he can help, and he's like, okay, I mean, yeah, I can help, but I brought my students here so they wouldn't have to fight, right? So I'm gonna leave them here, right? You know, I'll come and help you, but they're gonna have to stay here, right? You know, stuff like that, right? You know, just like leaving them out of the trouble that they have, right? So with that happening, right, Cyclops, Emma Frost, Magneto, Namor, Colossus, they're all of them are gonna be like a big part of this story, you know, like later going on in the story, they're gonna be a big part of it. Well, except maybe Magneto, but everybody else, big part of the story, right? So they're all just sitting there talking, right? And they're just like, talking about the Phoenix, right? They know the Phoenix is coming. They know that it's on its way. And they're basically like trying to figure out what they want to do, right? So Cyclops, he's spearheading. He's like, okay, yeah, we can probably like, train Hope Summers, teach her some stuff, like let her, be able to like wield this power, right? Like let her learn how to wield the power, like, show her so she won't like start freaking out whenever it does get here, right? Because inevitably it's gonna come to her, right? So Magneto, he throws it out. He's like, you're starting to sound like me, Sky. Like, what's going on? Like, you sound a little aggressive, right? You sound a little extreme, right? And basically, he's saying, yes, I sound like this is because it needs to happen, right? Like, I can't just sit here and let our people just get, screwed over all the time, right? The Phoenix is coming. We finally have our, like our Messiah coming, right? So we can, we have a way to pick ourselves up from this oppression that we're feeling, right? And basically, everyone else is just like, no, this thing is way too dangerous. Is way too unpredictable, stuff like that. And basically he's saying he doesn't care. Like he really doesn't care. Like he's just trying to, like get this thing here, get it in Hope Summers so, like she can, actually be their saving grace, right? So with that happening, Emma Frost just throws it out there. She's like, okay, we probably should just let her decide, right? Like let her decide if she wants to be this Phoenix. If not, she doesn't have to do it. If she does, we can train her. Boom, just like that, right? And Cyclops, he's like, okay, whatever. And eventually they find out Captain America's there, right? So when Captain America's there, Namor actually throws it out, right? Like Cyclops goes up to talk to him, and Namor's like, yeah, if Captain America's here, that means two things, right? One is that, a decision has been made, right? He's made up his mind. He's made it like there's no disputing it, right? And two, he's not taking no for an answer, right? He's not taking no for an answer, right? So like basically when Cyclops goes to talk to him, Captain America, he's not hearing none of it, right? So Cyclops, he's basically throwing out the idea like, okay, yeah, like we've had to go into all this stuff, and y'all want to like take her away from us. And Captain America, he's like, I mean, we just want to go and take her to protective custody, right? Like the Phoenix is coming, it's ridiculously strong, like powerful force of energy is coming. We won't be able to stop it, okay? Y'all won't be able to stop it. Y'all have ran into this thing before. Y'all have got, destroyed by it. Like, we won't be able to stop this thing, right? Let's just take her. We could put her in protective custody, keep it away from her, and, like, see if we can do something there, right? And Cyclops is like, no. Like when we finally actually find something, our saving grace to get us out of this oppression that we feel by the people that you protect all the time, you want to take her away? No. Like, every time that we have to fight these people, like, fight for our lives and, stuff like that, we feel the oppression that humanity has given us, calling us monsters, treating us like we don't, like we're not even, humans to begin with. No, y'all aren't having her, right? He's basically saying like he's gonna let her get the power of the Phoenix, right? Like he's not really, backing down from Captain America, right? And Captain America's like, I hope you understand this isn't a request. And Scott's like, I know. And like he just like blasts Captain America with his eye beams, right? So when that happens, Captain America, he gets pissed, right? Like he's just like, Avengers assemble. And as soon as he says that, the helicarrier shows up, drops his doors. Every single one of the Avengers, right? Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Luke Cage, Black Panther, all these different people, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, like all these different people just show up, right? And basically, like soon as that happens, right? Like Scott, he knows it's about to be a fire, right? So Cyclops, he talks to Emma Frost, right? And he's like telling her, take Hope away, right? Take her, go hide her, get her out of here, right? Because this fight is for her. We gotta hide her, right? Make sure they don't get her, right? So with that happening, Magneto, he grabs Colossus, right? Uses his power, grabs Colossus, and sends him like flying through the helicarrier, right? Literally destroys the entire thing, right? Just has it come like pummeling down to the water, right? So like it comes down to the water, and everyone's just like landing in the water with Namor the Submariner, right? And Namor, he's just like going through, knocking everybody out, right? He's just knocking everybody out, right? And eventually they all get up. So the Avengers, X-Men, they all just like standing there, just like looking at each other, right? So they end up going in, and the battle starts, right? So that happening, Emma Frost, she ends up like getting Hope Summers to the bunker, right? With all the other students, and basically Hope Summers, she's just watching, right? All the students in Hope Summers, they're just like all watching this fight go on, right? And Emma Frost, she leaves to go back to the fight, right? As soon as she walks out, Iron Man shows up. He like, apprehends her, like she tries to struggle out and stuff like that. And eventually Iron Man realizes Magneto shows up. Now, one thing I will say here, I am actually, guilty of this. Whenever I've thought of Iron Man, fighting against Magneto, I'm just like, okay, there's no way Iron Man would win this, right? Like this is Magneto. Literally, he's wearing a suit of metal. Magneto controls metal, or controls the magnetism around the metal. There's nothing that Iron Man can do here until he activates one of his protocols, right? Basically, it turns off any magnetic functions of his suit, right? Like literally it's an anti-Magneto suit pretty much, right? And that's how smart he is, right? Like even if he's not, having like countermeasures for all these different people, he's fought against people to the point where, like, like he would know what to expect if these people had, similar powers to them, right? Like, let's say someone like Magneto, or like someone who had powers like similar to Magneto walked up on Iron Man. He could just turn off his magnetic, functions of his suit, and boom, they can't really do too much to him, right? He'd probably still lose because, like, Magneto is ridiculously OP, but he'd have to work harder for it, right? That's just how smart Tony Stark is, right? Like, he's a genius, okay? He's, when it comes to, like, him building suits and stuff, he's a genius, right? So with them doing that, right, Magneto and Tony Stark, they're fighting. We see Quicksilver, and he's like watching, right? He's just like watching them fight, right? Like, he's just looking at it on the TV, and eventually he's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go fight them, right? He's talking to this like mystery person. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go out there, right? Zooms out there, punches Magneto in the face, right? And when Magneto's like, okay, I hope you didn't bring your sister into this, right? We find out she was the person that Quicksilver was talking to, right? She turns the TV off and she walks away. Now, the thing about Scarlet Witch, like, during this point in the story, the mutants are terrified of her. Like she, like, when it comes to, like, how powerful she is, she's ridiculously OP. Like, the people who hate her from her MCU standings, they'll be like, oh yeah, like Scarlet Witch sucks. No, she is ridiculously OP. Like when it comes down to it, she's more powerful than anybody out there at like Doctor Strange, Magic. Like, she's more powerful than all of them. And it's not even debatable, honestly. So basically, she takes off and she goes to the battlefield, right? So you get all these little small fights, right? X-Men, they're fighting against Wolverine, and basically what they're doing is they're calling him a traitor, right? They're calling him a traitor, saying that he's betraying his own people, but he's really not, honestly, because the thing is, he's been an X-Men before, and right now he's currently an Avenger, right? So the thing is, like, he doesn't have any, like, loyalties to any allegiances. He's just doing what he thinks is right? That's basically, like, all he's doing, right? And they're basically, like, trying to call him, like, a traitor, betrayer, stuff like that. And basically he's just like, okay, whatever, y'all just, y'all are just, sucking Cyclops off so hard that y'all can't really, see straight, right? So with that happening, Black Panther, right, he's fighting against his wife Storm. They're going at it, and like, while all this is happening, right, Hope Summers, she's just watching, right? She's just looking at him through the window, right? And like, with that happening, she realizes she's the reason this is happening, right? Like, the reason that this entire fight is going on is because of her, and she realizes she must be ridiculously OP if this entire conflict is going on because of her, right? She realizes that, and she tries to go out there, and all these students, they try to stop her. She fights every single one of them off. Like, literally, she is taking noses. She is, like, having all, like, literally everything. Like, she is just crushing them, right? So with that happening, Captain America, he takes out Cyclops, right? And when that happens, Doctor Strange, he's like, okay, I have magic, right? She's trying to sneak around, I got her, right? He meets her in Limbo, right? So they're going at it, and while all this stuff is going on, like Black Panther fighting his wife, Captain America and Cyclops going at it, Strange and Magic in Limbo, like, with all this stuff going on, right, we find out Wolverine and Spider-Man, they went behind everybody, right? So they snuck off and basically went to, like, enter the island from the drain pipes, right? So nobody can detect them coming in. Maybe, like, the telepaths can, like, detect they're coming in, but they're so preoccupied with everybody else, they're not going to be focused on that, right? So they're, like, sneaking in from behind, right? And basically, while they're going in, they show up to the bunker, and basically Hope, she crushed every single point in there. They're all just like, like students, they're not big timers, but still at the same time, that is a lot of people, and she, like, crushed every single one of them, right? So Wolverine, he tries to go and end this. She, like, seizes him with the utmost ease. Like, literally, she just, like, grabs him, and it's like done. That's it, right? So with that happening, the Avengers and the X-Men, they realize that like, like, some stuff happened, and basically, Hope's, like, losing her mind, stuff like that. They go up to the bunker, right? And the X-Men and the Avengers, they all show up, right? And when they do that, they find out Wolverine, Spider-Man, all these different kids just got smoked with the greatest of ease. Like, literally, she just, like, crushed every single one of them and ran out the building. Now, I think she's running because Quicksilver's there, and she has the powers of Quicksilver at this point, because like, he's around her. He's in her proximity, so she's able to run. So she takes off, right? And she's just running for her life, right? Literally getting out of there, right? So, like, basically, it's gonna be like a chase for Hope Summers, right? It's gonna be like a wild, like a wild goose chase, basically, for Hope Summers, right? So I'm in this story here. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, leave a like if you enjoyed the story, and I will see y'all in the next one.